It is Saturday, December 3rd, 2016. We are happy to join us. Welcome to Let's Talk Sports. It's Saturday. You're here to talk about a lot of sports, and we're going to talk about NCAA college football. First, I want to give a shout out to the Temple Owls. They are taking on the Navy Midshipmen this afternoon. The Temple Owls come in with a record of 9-3, and they were 7-1 in the American Conference. The Navy Midshipmen are home today. The game will be played in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm going to pick the Temple Owls to defeat the Navy Midshipmen, and of course, after Navy finishes the game with Temple, they will be taking on Army in their annual Army-Navy game next Saturday, and that game will be played at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. I'll give Temple a shout out and wish them the best of luck this afternoon. The next game is Oklahoma State as they take on Oklahoma. This has been a regular season game. Of course, we're down to the final 2 weeks. Oklahoma State comes in with a record of 9-2. They have played very well, and they are taking on Oklahoma with a record of 9-2, both teams with identical records. I'm going to take Oklahoma State to win that game, and of course the game will be played in an hour from now, and both teams are looking for a win. Other games, Baylor and West Virginia. Of course, Baylor comes in with a record of 6-5. Meanwhile, West Virginia comes in at a record of 9-2. Of course, West Virginia has been playing very well as of late. Of course, Baylor with a record of 6-5. Of course, that's a later time, 3:30 kickoff. Of course, it's been a very good year, but who is going to win that battle? I'm going to take West Virginia to win over Baylor. I'm going to say the score will be 27-20. They're going to win by 1 touchdown. And later today, the game at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta is Alabama and Georgia. Of course, this is Verne Lundquist's final SEC game. I want to give a shout out to Verne Lundquist. He has done a lot of SEC games on CBS. His partner was Gary Danielson. We wish Verne the best in his retirement. Now, Alabama and Georgia both coming in, and Alabama has been undefeated, looking for their 13th straight win, and Florida comes in with a record of 8-3. This is for the SEC championship. Will Florida defeat Alabama and end their 12-game winning streak, or will Alabama be undefeated and win at 13-0? I'm going to take the Alabama Crimson Tide to win at 13-0. They're going to win the SEC. Tonight, the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship game features Clemson and Virginia Tech. Clemson comes in with a record of 11-1, while Virginia Tech comes in with a record of 9-3 and 6-2 in the ACC. Clemson comes in with a record of 7-1 in the ACC as well. But both teams have played very well as of late. How will Clemson do? Will they win their 11th game? Or will Virginia Tech win with a record of 10-3? I'm going to take Virginia Tech to win. The score will be 34-20. They're going to win by 2 scores to make this a contest. Going to be a hard-fought game tonight on ABC. Tonight, we've got the Pac-10 championship game as number 6 Wisconsin is on the road as they will take on number 7 Penn State. I'm going to say Penn State has a record of 10-2, Wisconsin 10-2. Both teams have the same record. And of course, Wisconsin went 7-2 in the Big Ten. Meanwhile, Penn State was 8-1 in the Big Ten. Who will take home the Big Ten championship game? I'm going to say Wisconsin is going to win the Big Ten championship. If they have a chance to face off against Penn State, they have an opportunity. Penn State comes in 10-2. Will they be 11-2 or 10-3? So I'm going to take Wisconsin to win at 10 at 11-2, and they'll be 8-2 in the Big Ten. Penn State will go 8-2 in the Big Ten. Hopefully, we'll see a win in Penn State. Actually, at Lucas Oil Stadium, that game in Indianapolis. Now we had two games in the NCAA last night, of course, in the Pac-12 championship game. That game in Washington, of course, 41-10. Washington destroyed Colorado. Jake Browning was 9 of 24 for 118 yards, and he threw for 2 touchdowns. Of course, Myles Jackson had 29 carries for 159 yards. And John Ross had 4 receptions, 1 touchdown for 51 yards. Of course, Washington won 41-10 over Colorado. Close game between Western Michigan and Ohio. It was a lot of fun game as they went on to win 29-23. Zach Terrell was 19 of 31 for 290 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns. A lot of fun. Of course, Jamali Bogan, who had a fantastic performance, 26 carries of 78 yards. And of course, Corey Davis was caught 8 passes for 144 yards. He had a touchdown in the game. And of course, Western Michigan defeats Ohio by a score of 29-23. And that was a fun time. They are the Marathon MAC football championship. And of course, Wisconsin is the Pac-12 championship. Should be fun. Anyway, who is going to win today? I'm going to take the Temple Owls. The final score will be 34-24. They will take home the American Athletic Conference championship. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. I said Oklahoma State. Baylor, West Virginia. I said West Virginia. They're going to win that game. I'm going to say Alabama's going to win 13 straight games. Not going to be that easy. At 13-0, undefeated. And they are undefeated in the SEC. Let's see if they can win at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. Of course, going to be a lot of fun. Of course, I'm going to change the pick. I'm going to take Clemson to win. They are 11-1. They're going to win their 12th game at 12-1 and win the Dr. Pepper ACC championship game. And of course, Wisconsin and Penn State. Of course, I'm going to change. I'm going to take Penn State to win. They're going to be 11-2 on the year. Of course, Wisconsin will lose, go to 10-3 on the season. Hopefully, things will be a fantastic rivalry. Of course, this year for Penn State, Trace McSorley was 184 for 327. He had almost 3,000 passing yards, and he has 21 touchdowns. We'll see if he can reach 22 touchdowns on the season. Of course, Saquon Barkley had 228 carries for 1,219 rushing yards, and he had 15 touchdowns. And of course, Chris Godwin was had 47 receptions for 762 yards, and he almost had 10 touchdowns on the year. He has 9. And for Temple, Philip Walker was 186 for 321 yards. He has 27 yards passing and 18 touchdowns. He's looking to throw a couple, see if he can get to the 20 touchdown mark. For Navy, Will Worth has 258 yards of carrying for 1,181 rushing yards, and of course 25 touchdowns on the year. Ben Temple, Temple, he has 38 catches for almost 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. We'll see if he can get a couple touchdowns today. And I'd love to see Philip Walker throw a couple touchdown passes as well. Mason Rudolph of Oklahoma State has almost 3,600 yards passing, and he has 25 touchdowns on the year. Let's see if he can do the best. And of course, Deed Westbrook had 70 reception yards, 1,354 yards, and of course, 15 touchdowns. Of course, that is it for college football. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll recap Week 12 and what happened to the Eagles on Monday night. This is Let's Talk Sports, and we are coming right back.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job is to run and manage my own spa one day.
To be the general manager for the Jumeirah Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
I feel that Mercyhurst has prepared me very well for my future in the hospitality industry.
The kitchen is incredible.
You are planning the meal, doing all the costing and the recipes. You're in charge of everything going on in the kitchen.
They really do get you prepared, and they want to make sure that you have a job after college.
When it comes to injuries,
they're not all created equal.
that's why at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine,
Our team of doctors will coordinate and customize your care
to provide the best treatment options using the area's most advanced medical technology,
all with one goal in mind.
to get you back in the game,
We call life
pain-free,
drug-free.
surgery-free. That's what we do here at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine.
Get better faster.
Stay better longer.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as merchant services programs, point-of-sale systems, and ATM machines. TCS, one of the leaders in regional credit card processing consulting, offers electronic payments to merchants locally and nationwide through our preferred vendor programs. We work to keep business costs down with a comprehensive suite of quality products, services, and customized credit card processing programs exclusively tailored for your company. TCS is convenient, reliable, and innovative, with customer service available 24/7, 365 days a year. Our in-depth industry knowledge, partnership strategy, and innovative processing solutions allow for a specialized approach to providing merchant bank processing with 100% full fee disclosure. TCS is one-stop shopping for all your merchant services solutions. Our clients save money 100% of the time. Trust Tanker Consulting Services, the knowledgeable, professional, and friendly provider of secure payment services. We set the standard by which others are measured. Call now for a free written analysis. 609-922-0201.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Welcome back. It is now time to recap Week 12 of the National Football League. Let's start off with the Thanksgiving Day games, starting in Detroit, where the Minnesota Vikings took on the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. It was a back-and-forth game, of course. Minnesota and Detroit were tied at 13, but Sam Bradford threw a costly interception and forced Detroit to win on a game-winning field goal. Of course, the score was 16-13. Detroit takes the win and takes first place in the NFC North. Of course, Detroit will take on the New Orleans Saints. We'll preview that later. And of course, Minnesota already played their game against Dallas. We'll talk about Minnesota's game against Dallas later on. The Washington Redskins take on the Dallas Cowboys in Arlington. Of course, a classic football rivalry. Redskins, Cowboys. Dallas was off to a good start. Of course, Dak Prescott was amazing. Ezekiel Elliott was able to run the ball. Kirk Cousins had a good performance, over almost 450 yards passing, but the Redskins fell short. Of course, Dallas went on to win their 10th consecutive game. Of course, 31-26 was the final in Arlington. Of course, Dallas sweeps the Washington Redskins. Of course, Washington will be taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, Dallas already played their game at Minnesota. As I said, we'll recap Dallas at Minnesota in our last segment. In Indianapolis, Scott Tolzien made the start at quarterback as he took on Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Of course, last time these two teams met was in Pittsburgh. 1 year later, they meet at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Indianapolis had a chance to go for it on 4th and goal, but it did not work out. They didn't even get a chance to score. They end up turning the ball over on downs, not once in the red zone, but twice. Of course, Tolzien was supposed to be in the end zone, but he was short of the goal line at the 1. Of course, Pittsburgh went on to win 28-7. Of course, fun matches. Of course, Pittsburgh will be home against the New York Giants. Meanwhile, Indianapolis will be playing on Monday night against the New York Jets. We'll preview the Monday night game with the Colts and the Jets later on. And, of course, Pittsburgh will take on the G-Men of New York. We'll talk about that later on. Now, let's recap the Sunday football games. Starting off in Baltimore, the Cincinnati Bengals took on Joe Flacco and the Ravens. Baltimore has played very well, but they ended up being tied for first with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course, Pittsburgh had their 4-game losing streak snapped. Baltimore went on to win that game, of course, in the last seconds of regulation. A safety, of course, it did not extend the game. Baltimore winning 19-14 over the Cincinnati Bengals in Baltimore. In Chicago, Jay Cutler and the Chicago Bears took on the Tennessee Titans. Chicago had a chance to come from behind to win the game, but the rally fell short. Tennessee almost blew the lead. It was 27-7 up until Chicago tried to rally. It was a tough loss for Chicago. Tennessee wins 27-21. Tennessee is on a bye. Meanwhile, Chicago is home against the San Francisco 49ers in Chicago. In Buffalo, the Jacksonville Jaguars took on the Buffalo Bills at Ralph Wilson Stadium or New Era Field. Buffalo had a great performance. It was a close game down to the very end. Buffalo winning that game 28-21 at New Era Field in Buffalo. In Houston, Phillip Rivers and the San Diego Chargers took on the Houston Texans in Houston. San Diego held onto the lead at the very good moment. San Diego did very well winning the game, but of course, Houston had a really rough time. Of course, San Diego wins 21-13 that game in Houston. Of course, San Diego will be home against the Buccaneers. Meanwhile, Houston will be at Lambeau Field tomorrow afternoon to take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. In Atlanta, Carson Palmer and the Arizona Cardinals took on Matt Ryan and the Falcons in Atlanta. Of course, these two teams met 2 years ago in Atlanta, but Matt Ryan was amazing. He had a good performance. Same with those running backs. Of course, the wide receivers, Julio Jones, they did very well. Of course, Arizona had a hard time in 2016. Of course, they had one tie, and they end up losing 38-19 at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. In Cleveland, the New York Giants took on the winless Cleveland Browns. Eli Manning was phenomenal. He played very well. Of course, with Victor Cruz, he caught a couple. Of course, Odell Beckham Jr. caught a couple of touchdown passes. He had a touchdown call back because of a holding penalty on special teams. And that's when New York went on to beat the Cleveland Browns by 2 touchdowns, 27-13 in Cleveland. In New Orleans, Drew Brees and the Saints took on rookie quarterback Jared Goff and the Los Angeles Rams at the Superdome. Drew Brees had an amazing performance. He had 300 yards passing, did a splendid job. And New Orleans went on to beat the Rams in a rout, 49-21. Fantastic performance by the Saints. The Rams have got to improve as they will take on the New England Patriots in Foxborough tomorrow. In Miami, the Miami Dolphins took on the San Francisco 49ers at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Miami had a good lead, of course. Fantastic performance. It was 31 to 14. But then the 49ers rallied back. Of course, tried to rally on 1st and goal. But Colin Kaepernick could not get into the end zone to force overtime and did not score. The 49ers are 1-10, their worst performance in franchise history. They have yet to win some games. Of course, on tomorrow they will take on the Chicago Bears. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins will hit the road as they will take on Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. The late game featured Russell Wilson and the Seahawks taking on Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Seattle didn't even score a touchdown in the game. Tampa Bay ended up scoring 2. They could have scored 3 and made it 21-5, but an illegal use of hands penalty wiped out the touchdown, but Jameis Winston took a chance for the end zone, and he got picked off. Seattle tried to rally, 2 minutes to go, just could not rally back, and they ended up losing 14-5. Of course, Seattle will play Carolina tomorrow night on NBC's Sunday Night Football, and meanwhile, Tampa Bay will be in San Diego. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers went into Oakland to take on the Oakland Raiders. Oakland had a 17-point lead, 24-7, but Derek Carr ended up getting intercepted, and Carolina tried to rally. They took the lead, but at a 32-24 game, Oakland rallied and tied up the game at 32. With 2 minutes to go, Derek Carr drove downfield to get into field goal range. They kicked the field goal. Oakland went on to lead 35-32. But with a minute remaining in the game, Cam Newton is trying to get the Panthers to force overtime. But drop passes, and Carolina almost came from behind. They ended up losing at Oakland 35-32. At MetLife Stadium, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots took on Ryan Fitzpatrick and the New York Jets. The Jets had a lead of 10-0, but Tom Brady rallied in the first half. It was 13-10 up until Fitzpatrick threw a pass in the end zone, but it was ruled incomplete. Todd Bowles challenged, but after review, it was a touchdown for the New York Jets, and they lead 17-13 with 10 minutes remaining in the fourth. Steven Gostkowski kicked a field goal. It was 17-16. Now, with 2 minutes remaining in the game, Tom Brady gave the ball to LeGarrette Blount, and he ran into the end zone. The Patriots went on for 2, and it failed on them because after review, it failed. The 2-point conversion was no good. 22-17, the New England Patriots went on to defeat the New York Jets. Of course, these two teams will meet on Christmas Eve Day. In Denver, back and forth they went, the Chiefs and the Broncos. A fantastic performance between these two teams, but only one of them has to win. Almost our third tie this year in the National Football League. Even though Kansas City and Denver exchanged field goals in overtime, but Brandon McManus, a 62-yard field goal, was no good. Game went on with a minute to go. With 5 seconds left, down to the wire, a 35-yard field goal hit the post and then went through the upright. That was close. Of course, almost our third tie, but Kansas City went on to win by a score of 30-27 in overtime. Of course, next time these two teams meet, they will meet on Christmas Day. Monday night featured the Battle of the Green as Aaron Rodgers and the Packers took on the Eagles and Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. Now, the Packers had the lead and did not blow it up until the game. This was a tough performance for Philadelphia. They came off with a bad loss at Seattle, 26-15. Meanwhile, Philadelphia had a chance to win their 5th game at home. But the way they played, it didn't seem like it. Of course, Carson Wentz ended up throwing interceptions in the game, but they were trying to rally. Of course, with 2 minutes to go, Carson Wentz ended up getting sacked. Of course, Green Bay played a fantastic performance. They had a great performance. Of course, Eagles went on to lose that one 27-13. They dropped to 5-6 on the season. What happened, Philadelphia? You're going on the road to play at Cincinnati to take on Andy Dalton and the Bengals. How can you lose 2 straight games? Last time they lost 2 straight games, you have to go back to weeks 8 and 9 at Dallas and at the New York Giants. They have got to get back in the hunt if they want to fight for that wild card playoff spot. Philadelphia, let's look at the remaining schedule. They got a game at Cincinnati tomorrow, Washington next Sunday, at Baltimore, New York Giants on a short week, and then finishing up their game against the Dallas Cowboys New Year's Day. Are they going to end up going 10-6, or are they going to end up going 5-11? But head coach Doug Peterson has got to rebound and start winning some games if they want to get back in the NFC East race. Of course, we'll be following 2 NFC East teams in the late session, New York and Washington. They are playing very well. Of course, New York's playing well. Washington's been playing well. But can they catch up to the Dallas Cowboys, who have won 11 straight games? They cannot let Dallas take over the NFC East. And of course, if Dallas had that division, they would have to force a Washington loss at Arizona. And if Tampa Bay loses at San Diego, it could be a Washington loss at Arizona or a Tampa Bay loss at San Diego. We're going to have to keep an eye on those 2 games. Of course, Washington and Tampa Bay both play at 4:25 tomorrow afternoon. This is now nearing the home stretch. It's crunch time. Who will win the division? Who will clinch the wild card? Who will clinch the best record in the NFL? Not going to be easy. Of course, if the postseason started today, Miami will be playing Baltimore in a rematch of Week 13 and other coverage. And of course, other action has to be, of course, Atlanta at the New York Giants, and of course, Washington at Detroit, and of course, other matchups, Kansas City at Houston if the season ended today. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're going to recap Dallas's win at Minnesota and preview the rest of Week 13 of the National Football League, including the Eagles game at Cincinnati, and we'll preview the rest of football. This is Let's Talk Sports, and we're coming right back.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job is to run and manage my own spa one day.
To be the general manager for the Jumeirah Hotel in Abu Dhabi, Dubai.
I feel that Mercier's has prepared me very well for my future in the hospitality industry.
The kitchen is incredible.
You are planning the meal, doing all the costing and the recipes. You're in charge of everything going on in the kitchen.
They really do get you prepared, and they want to make sure that you have a job after college.
When it comes to injuries,
They're not all created equal.
that's why at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine,
Our team of doctors will coordinate and customize your care,
to provide the best treatment options using the area's most advanced medical technology
all with one goal in mind.
to get you back in the game,
We call life
pain-free,
drug-free.
surgery-free. That's what we do here at Performance Spine and Sports Medicine.
Get better faster.
Stay better longer.
Saving your business money is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Tanker Consulting Services, a payment solutions expert, will show you how with a free, detailed, written analysis illustrating your cost savings. We usually uncover savings between 10 and 25%, and sometimes more. We can help your business succeed by providing reliable and secure merchant payment solutions such as Merchant Services Program,